Now, just like most Ace Combat fans out there, I was extremely excited when Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown came out. I've been an Ace Combat fan all the way since the PlayStation 2 days, and it's been a very long time since the last installment of Ace Combat. And I thoroughly enjoyed campaign mode, even though there were moments when I got salty. And even on normal, it's kind of sort of difficult. It's challenging. You will fail a few times, but at the same time, after playing it, start to finish on normal, I had a blast once again hopping into the cockpit in Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. What I didn't expect to enjoy as well is multiplayer. And I've been playing over the past week or so with Riley. By the way, check out her channel. She also does Ace Combat 7 vids. And while we've been doing multiplayer in Ace Combat 7, we've been brainstorming ideas how to improve or add to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. One of the things I like about multiplayer is the points you earn can be spent on upgrades and aircraft that you can use over in campaign mode. For example, if you get stuck at, I don't know, mission 6, and you just can't quite reach that 17,000 points in Annihilation mode, fear not, just go play multiplayer, rank up in multiplayer, earn some nicknames, earn some emblems for your aircraft, earn some points. I would recommend Team Deathmatch. It's a lot more fun and satisfying in my opinion. Unless you're an ace pilot, then go try Battle Royale out, which is basically solo deathmatch. You earn points that can be spent towards upgrades for either campaign, multiplayer, or both. A lot of the upgrades apply to both multiplayer mode and campaign mode, but all the points, no matter what you get them for, whether in campaign or multiplayer, can go towards the jets. So you can get better jets if you're stuck at a mission in campaign mode by simply playing in multiplayer. And it's easy to rank up. It's relatively easy to earn points. You can earn a lot of points in a matter of hours. More than enough to upgrade from an F-16 to an F-18 or to an F-15. And eventually all the way up to an F-35 or an F-22 or an SU-47 or YF-23. Depending on how long you want to invest in playing multiplayer, you can eventually get enough points for almost all the upgrades and whatever aircraft your heart desires. Now, Ace Combat 7 multiplayer is very bare bones, but at the same time, it's still fun. There's two modes, as I mentioned, Battle Royale and Team Deathmatch. I recommend Team Deathmatch because it's basically squadron versus squadron. It's anywhere between 4 to 8 players, like a 4v4. I like it because there's a 50% chance of your team actually winning. And even if you don't get any points during the round, your teammates get points and you get those points as well. So all the points add up on your team whether you win or lose. And there's other bonuses that you get as well, along with medals, etc., etc. So this is what I would love to see added to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. Bear in mind, I have no idea if they have any plans for adding to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. I would love for them to continue adding stuff to it and encouraging people to continue playing it, because I think it does have potential replayability. I know eventually people are going to get tired of it if it's just the same two things, Battle Royale and Team Deathmatch, but I really feel like multiplayer has potential if they decide to add more stuff to it. Now, there's a possibility they won't, but we can dream, right? The sky's the limit when it comes to this game. First off, I think that Ace Combat multiplayer needs more maps. Now, there's only a few maps that we currently have in multiplayer, and they're all based off of Ace Combat 7, various campaigns. But why not just add them all the different maps, make those maps available for us to switch between for Battle Royale and death matches in multiplayer. That way we have a little bit more variety than we currently have when it comes to the maps. I would also like the ability to change the weather and the time of day when it comes to the maps. Now, I don't know if that is actually possible, but still it'd be really cool if you could decide to play at the island or, near the space elevator or Anchorhead or somewhere else up in the mountains or out in the desert. And you could also pick the time of day and the weather, like you want to be in the morning or noon or afternoon, clear skies, storming, raining, maybe even snowing. It would just be awesome if we had those options to choose between in the options menu. And speaking of maps, I would love it if they actually brought back some favorites from previous Ace Combat games. That would be awesome as well. But for now, I'm quite happy with them simply using maps that we have in campaign mode and just carry them over to multiplayer. Next is racing. I know this is something that some of you will be like, racing? Why do you want racing? It's just something else to do for fun. You pick out your fastest plane. This is just racing, no weapons. You just have to go from like one checkpoint to another checkpoint to another all around a map. Maybe even some that'll make you have to fly under bridges or through tunnels or some other crazy nonsense, just depending on the map. It would just be a lot of fun to pit jets up against each other. And, there'd be, first, second, third, all the way down to last place, DNFs, like your typical racing game. And you'd be awarded a certain amount of points and medals and other things based on how well you perform in a race. It would just be something else to do in multiplayer, and I think a lot of people would like that. They would just, have this souped out jet, the jet of their choice. They'd have a jet for dogfighting, depending on the different levels that they want to dogfight in, and then they would have their racing jet, and they would just say, okay, this is going to be my racing jet. I'm going to use this upgrade, that upgrade, blah, 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 and I'm going to make this like a certified, bona fide racing jet. It would just be really cool if we could, put the F-22 up against the F-35 or the Su-47. You get the idea. Next is a survival mode. Now, most of the other modes that we've talked about are PvP. I would also like some PvE in multiplayer, and survival's one of those options where you would have to fly in with, say, a squadron of 4, and you would all have to survive the wave, or at least one of you. And you would be going up against wave after wave of drones, because drones are kind of an issue in Ace Combat 7. There's weaker drones like the MQ-99 or the MQ-101, but as you get up higher and higher in the waves, say wave 10 or wave 20 or whatever, eventually you start facing more difficult drones that come in. At first it's just like 20 or 25 MQ-99s. Then they start peppering in MQ-101s. Then they start adding the really advanced and difficult drones like the ADFs, the ADF-Xs, the ADF-11s, the ADF-11Fs, those really high advanced stealthy Decepticon looking drones before the final wave, where it's just insane. And depending on how far you make it and how many drones you drop, that's how many points you get. So if you make it to wave 10, you get, 300,000 points or something like that. But the higher you go wave-wise in survival, more points you earn, as well as how many drones you manage to destroy per wave. So I would love to go in with a squadron of 3 other players or 2 other players, or even solo by yourself if you want. If you think you're good enough to take on, 10 waves of drones, go for it. So a 1 to 4 player survival mode with wave after wave of drones could actually be a lot of fun. And salty, depending on how difficult they want to make it. What I would like to see added next in Ace Combat 7 would be objectives or PvE type missions. Like there would be several that would be for escort. You have to escort this bomber from point A to point B, or a helicopter, or a vehicle, or a convoy, or a fleet of warships from various enemies, fighter jets, bombers, troops on the ground, etc. It would be set up very similar to survival, where you could have between 1 to 4 players, so you could go in with a squadron, and as long as at least one of you survives the escort mission from point A to point B and the target gets to the finish line safely, you win. You get awarded whatever points you get for completing the escort missions. There would also be annihilation missions where you and your squadron has to destroy enough targets, ground and air, within a certain time period in order to win. So you'd have to destroy, say, 50,000 points within 10 minutes. For a squadron of 4, that could possibly be doable, but there'll be more difficult ones as well, but more rewarding if you manage to beat them. So I would like annihilation objective missions for you and a squadron to take on, along with dogfighting. Of course, you could probably just throw dogfighting into the escort missions, into annihilation because obviously they're going to throw in jets. They're going to throw in the drones for those as well. So, in other words, dogfighting's kind of a given when it comes to doing these escort and annihilation missions that I would like to see in multiplayer for Ace Combat 7. Finally, I want some good old-fashioned Ace Combat boss battles. This would be extremely difficult, but at the same time, also fun, replayable, as well as rewarding. And I would love for them, similar to the maps, to bring back some old favorites from previous Ace Combat games. Not just what we experienced in Ace Combat 7, like, for example, the Arsenal Bird or Mr. X, but some of the other bosses and Ace pilots and Ace squadrons that we encountered. Like, for example, the Arc Bird, Stonehenge, Megaliths, the Agent Cruiser, along with its Sky Fleet, and various other like Ace pilots like Yellow 13, even protagonists like Mobius 1 or Blaze, Cypher. I don't know about Trigger though, because Trigger is the protagonist of Ace Combat 7, so maybe or maybe not. That would just be awesome if we had the option to do boss battles in multiplayer, bringing back some old hits, some old favorites from previous Ace Combat games. And finally, Riley wanted me to add this as well. More jets. Of course we need more jets. We could always use more jets, right? She would like the Vampire, aka the Pyro from Grand Theft Auto Online. You could also add the Harrier, as well as a few other jets that have most likely been left out. But yes, the more fighter jets added to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer, the better, in my opinion. So there you go, some ideas Riley and I came up with that we brainstormed regarding what we would like to see added to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. Bear in mind, chances are a lot of this probably won't end up happening. I would be pleasantly surprised if some of it was, like more maps for Battle Royale and Deathmatch, as well as some of the other ideas that we came up with. That would be freaking awesome, though, because I would love to continue playing Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. I really would. It is a lot of fun. Even if I do get wrecked a lot, I still have a great time playing with Riley. And even randos whenever we're forming squadrons and doing squadron v squadron. But it'd be cool if we could also do races, some PvP stuff like we talked about, survival modes, various objectives like escort missions, annihilation missions with other players, along with epic, well-known boss battles from previous Ace Combat games, along with a few more fighter jets. And that's not too much to ask. Now, maybe none of these ideas will ever see the light of day in Ace Combat 7 multiplayer, but I would absolutely love for the devs to really be considering an Ace Combat Online that would have all of this and so much more. If they come out with an Ace Combat Online game that has all these things we talked about and more stuff as well, unfortunately probably microtransactions as well. Most online games have it. That's just the nature of the beast. But I would still very much love to play an Ace Combat Online game like this. As long as it's just, I guess, focused on cosmetics only, I'm okay with microtransactions when it would come to a potential Ace Combat multiplayer or Ace Combat Online, whatever they want to call it. But at least with Ace Combat 7 multiplayer, we can get a small taste of what we would like to see in, say, a future Ace Combat Online game. Then again, you never know. Maybe that's the plan for Ace Combat multiplayer. Whatever the case may be, one thing is for sure. Ace Combat 7 has gotten a lot of us Ace Combat fans, and new fans as well, including Riley, excited about the Ace Combat franchise once again, and very much looking forward to the next exciting installment in the Ace Combat series, and hopefully, just hopefully, they will have an even beefier, broader, robust online mode to come with that version, even if we don't get anything more added to multiplayer for Ace Combat 7. I would like for them to continue adding to Ace Combat 7 multiplayer. I would most definitely continue playing it, and I plan on doing so, but eventually the replay factor is going to dwindle away. But there is potential to keep Ace Combat 7 multiplayer alive. And if you have any ideas on what you would like to see in Ace Combat 7 multiplayer or in a future Ace Combat Online game, feel free to share your views, opinions, hopes, dreams, and vision for Ace Combat 7 multiplayer or Ace Combat Online below in the comment section.